everyone, this is Jennifer, and today we're going to talk about sociolinguistics. This video is going to be the first of the sociolinguistics series, which will include several other videos later. Okay, let's move on then. To begin, let's talk first about the outline of what we're going to talk about today. In today's topic, we're going to talk about what sociolinguistic really means, and then the key terms of sociolinguistics, as well as the variables in sociolinguistics, and the last topic will be about speech community. Let's go on then. So, what is sociolinguistics? Sociolinguistics is, of course, a branch of linguistics field. And as you can see from the name, it is made up of two different words: socio, which goes to society, and linguistics, which of course talk about language. So what do we learn in sociolinguistics? Well, to make it simple, sociolinguistics talk about the relationship between language and social factors. Social factors can include your age, your gender, the geographical location of where we live, and then probably the culture, habit, and other practices that has something to do with language. Okay, now the word sociolinguistics can sometimes be mistaken to be the same as another subject, which is the sociology of language. But are they really the same? Well, no, they're not the same. Well, in some cases, they're similar, but in most, they're very different. So, okay, both sociolinguistics and the sociology of language, they talk about the relationship between society and language. But the focus here is very different. Sociolinguistics is a part of linguistics field, so it means the focus will be on language. The sociology of language is a part of the sociology of the social studies, which means that they pay more attention to people rather than language. So here, sociolinguistics is basically the study of language in relation to society. It means that we study society, we study about the people in the society, their age, their social status, their culture, their gender, their age, the period they live in, to learn about language. So the focus in sociolinguistics is the structure of language. We want to know how people use language and how language is functioned in the society. The sociology of language, on the other hand, is the study of society in relation to language. So if you can see here, they study language in order to know about the structure of society. Kind of different, right? So we are focusing on society so that we know more about language, and they learn more about language to know more about society. So next time anyone tells you that sociolinguistics and the sociology of language are the same subject, now you can explain to them that it is very different. The focus is very different. Right. So, okay. Now, let's move on to the key terms that you need to know in sociolinguistics. What you need to know in sociolinguistics is the term code or variety. The term code or variety, anyway, this term is actually well, they're the same, they mean the same. So if you want to use the word code, it's fine. If you want to use the word variety, it's also fine. Just be consistent about it. I usually just use the word code instead of variety because, yeah, you know me and I like things shorter. So yeah, code is the one that I choose. Anyway, so what is code actually? We in sociolinguistics, we don't use the word language. We tend to use the word code because code, um, it involves more than just language. It means that we do something with language in a context. That is what we call a code. So yeah, if you can see that, it is any system of signal you can call code, and even your accent, your dialect, the way you pronounce something is considered a code. If it is your personal style of language use, it means that you have a personal code. So a code can include the way you pronounce one single word. Let's say you don't say sendok in bahasa Indonesia, but you say it sendok. So you use a instead of e. That is a personal code. That is a personal style that you use. And yeah, that is a code. Okay, code also talks about the system in which you and other people communicate. It can mean a sign language. Yeah, that is actually a code. So code doesn't only mean a verbal language. It also means sign language. Of course, if you send codes to your lovers, it is not included in sociolinguistic study unless you want to make a new branch of it. Wow. Yeah, so from now on, when we refer to language, I'd rather we start talking about code or variety. Okay? Now, moving on to the next one is talking about variables. Variables in sociolinguistics means that the thing that you can analyze, the thing that you can see to make your analysis more complex and more thorough. In sociolinguistics, we know two kind of codes. The first one is the linguistics code. Of course, the linguistics code or the linguistic variables include languages like Japanese, Bahasa Indonesia, English, and then Tali, and then whatever language you speak. And then, of course, it includes dialect. So you use Bahasa Indonesia in a Japanese dialect. You use English in Australian dialect. It is very different. So the styles of your speaking and the pronunciation, because some English people, some English speaking people do not pronounce milk as milk. They pronounce it with so they say milk, milk instead of milk. So those are the linguistics variables that you can analyze in sociolinguistics. The next one, because this is sociolinguistics and it has to deal with the society, it is the social variables. Social variable includes your age, your gender, culture, social class, and other factors. As long as it is social, you can put it in as a variable of analysis. And in sociolinguistics, you cannot really separate the linguistic variable and the social variable, which means that when analyzing a data, you have to see it from both linguistics and social perspectives. Together, they will make a very good and very thorough sociolinguistics analysis. Okay? let's move on. Yeah, so how do we develop our linguistic repertoires? We grow in a speech community. That's how. So what is speech community? Speech community is basically groups that share values and attitudes about language use, varieties, and practices. So you are a part of a speech community if you know exactly how to use certain codes and certain style appropriately. So for example, we know enough. So you are a part of English department society, English department speech community if you know that perhaps in my class it is okay to speak English or Bahasa Indonesia. And you know that using slang in my class is okay as long as it is not rude. So when you understand the value, when you understand the attitudes about how to use language appropriately in a certain situation with certain people, it means that you are a part of speech community. Now, here's a question. If you can speak another language, but you know nothing about the culture, you know nothing about the practice, you know nothing about which one is appropriate, which one is not, do you still belong to that speech community? Well, the answer is, let's go and take a look again to the definition. Speech community is a group that shares values, attitudes about language use, varieties, and practices. So if you can only speak, let's say, a language with a lot of structures, the Japanese language is very complex in the structure. So I can speak several words in Japanese, but I don't know which one is appropriate and which one is not when speaking to a stranger or an older person. So yeah, I know the language, but I'm not part of the speech community. So unless you really understand how to use the language properly, you are not a part of some speech community. It is very simple, isn't it? Now, language is a social construct. That is why we cannot really separate language from society. And when you belong to a certain speech community, you will know the terms, you will know the propriety of a lot of things. Now, let's take a look at this one. So language can be so specific that if you do not belong to a certain group, you will not understand anything about the language. So if you're not a part of a certain group of people, and then they will start using jargons or terms, what you hear is only gibberish. You don't understand it. And like I say, code in sociolinguistics and code in linguistics itself can mean anything that deals with language. It can mean, yeah, sign language is a code. So let's go to the example here. Okay, so this one speaks something. If you don't understand the language, you will not know what it means. But I believe that some of my students now looking at this and smile because they know what it means. Okay, I'm not going to explain what it means now. I'm going to put it later on the discussion, or you can always put a comment to explain to your friends what it means. But this lines, verticals and horizontal lines, is actually a minimalization of this comic. Again, it is quite difficult to explain it right now, but I'm going to use this discussion later when we talk in the forum, or perhaps anyone can comment on this video and tell your friends what it means. Okay, so this is why I say language is very specific. You understand this comic, but perhaps if I return this to this one, you know nothing about it. Only those who understand the reference, only those who understand the meme will know what it means. Okay, another one. I like your shoelace. Thanks. I got it from the president. So again, I'm not going to explain this. Someone please comment on it. So if you understand the reference, if you understand the meme, you understand it. If you don't, then you don't. If you understand it, it means that you are a part of the community which use this kind of code. For those of you who understand, so it means that you and I are a part of the same community. But if you don't understand, it means that you are outside the community that uses this kind of signal. So this one, again, please comment on it. So let's move on to another meme or another taglines from other social media. C, TBT, tackle glomp, and then a binary code. Can you guess what the binary code is? You can always translate it, but yeah, this binary code stands for a word. So please look it up if you want. But if you don't read binary code, you won't understand what it means. If you're not part of the Instagram community, you will not understand what TBT means. If you're not part of an older generation of chat room, perhaps you don't know what tackle glomp means. Or if you're not part of the emoji generation, you will not be able to answer this. So, for trivia, if you want, please leave some comments on what these emoji means. As a hint, they are movie titles. Okay? Well, yeah, I guess that's all for today. I'll see you in the discussion forum later on Wednesday, whatever Wednesday that is. Thank you very much for watching and stay safe.